Hey, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Would you like to take a look at the Dragon Quest VII Reimagined demo that just dropped on the Switch 2 eShop? I'm quite interested in this. I've recently started getting into Dragon Quest. I consider myself a little bit of a Dragon Quest now, but I'm still exploring the series, and I would really like to get into the monster raising games. I'll be sharing my perspective on the topic as a game developer, but also as just someone who enjoys games, especially RPGs. I've seen a couple of the trailers for this, and I can share my thoughts on that as we play the demo. Let's go ahead and jump into this. This is my first time taking a look at this, so this will just be a fresh reaction and analysis here. I've got a couple games that I would like to cover pretty soon here in some episodes. Many are by request by you guys, and I'm pretty excited to take a look at this one in particular, though, the Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. Now, I will be wearing a headset for this analysis. No, I'm not distracted talking to my girlfriend all the way in Canada at a different school. No, I just would like to be able to listen to the music of the Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. Ooh, I get to create a save file here. Now, let's go ahead and put in my signature name that I like to use for games, or sausage. I sometimes like to use sausage. Hot dog is good too. Very good. I started a new Digimon game on the Switch, and the voice acting in that is very good. I named my character Hot Dog, and it's very distracting because the characters in the game say their voice lines, and it shows the name Hot Dog in the dialogue, and I think, oh, they're gonna, I subconsciously think, oh, they'll say Hot Dog, but they don't. It's kind of distracting when they don't say the character's name as you put it in. Okay. I think this is fine. Let's go ahead and... I don't trust this. I never trust these. It says, adjust this until it's barely visible, and then you can't see anything. So I'm going to leave that as default. Now, let's hop into this. We are taking a look at a pan in here, and I thought that was pre-rendered for a second, but there was some stuttering, which to me kind of tells me that perhaps that's real time. Now, the performance that we see here is not indicative of the actual product because the capture card I'm using is not the highest quality. It's some sort of no-name brand.
For one day.
I'm not a streamer or professional YouTuber, so I don't invest in very expensive equipment for recording this stuff.
Here we are. You push that side, all right?
Now, I don't really know much about Dragon Quest VII.
To anyone.
I did
Even my father
start
doesn't know about it.
a game on the 3DS to check it out. I played it for about 2 or 3 hours just to see what it was about, but I don't really know anything about 7, so I think this will be a great way for me to jump into the experience. So what I like about this is they have not gone with the HD 2D approach, and while I think that approach is commendable, I think it's quite visually pleasant, I prefer that they take a more robust approach when it comes to making use of all the modern technology that is available in terms of telling a story, not just visually, but in terms of creating something that is immersive, that people can have an emotional connection to. There's something slightly cynical about the HD 2D games, and it's actually a little dishonest when it comes to the marketing. That the term HD 2D is not accurate at all, because the HD 2D games, they take place in a 3D space, so they're actually just 3D games. And the characters themselves in the HD 2D games, they're not even 2D, they are sprites. And the sprite, it's just a quad, but that still exists in a 3D space, and it's making use of 3D visual techniques. So it's actually very dishonest to call it an HD 2D, because the game is entirely 3D. It just uses sprites instead of models. And when you use sprites instead of models, you really, really limit yourself to the expressiveness that you can have in the game. The environments are entirely 3D and HD 2D games. So while I think the games are visually pleasant, the developers have arbitrarily limited themselves when it comes to what they can achieve in terms of expressiveness and animation, interaction with the characters in the environments. This is the approach that I want to see, and I'm not going to act like I'm some kind of authority on what people should and shouldn't do for games, but I feel that for a prestige series like Dragon Quest, which it is, this is a prestige series, I feel that you should do the most that you can do the best that you can do, and set an example, because Dragon Quest basically established the RPG genre. And these days we have many, many subgenres, and we refer to this style as JRPG, and Final Fantasy used to fall under that umbrella. So I was a little bit disappointed in the HD 2D games because they are dishonest in the branding and marketing. It's a 3D game is what it is. This is how a game should be remastered and not remastered, reimagined. This is a remake. So what I like about this, there is the use of depth of field, right? And this is something that we see in the Link's Awakening remake and the Zelda. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I played it a little bit, but I was so busy with work that the game didn't really stick with me. Oh no, oh dear, I was going to call it the Wand of Gamelon again. The game in which you play as Zelda and it looks like Link's Awakening. That one also makes use of depth of field. The way that it is implemented here is significantly better. The reason why this implementation is so much better, and I really strongly dislike the implementation in the Link's Awakening remake, is that the camera is actually more overhead. It's more directly overhead than it is in this. The camera is actually lower to the ground, and it has a more direct view. While it's not totally flat and directly horizontal, because it has more space in terms of the depth to show the viewer, it makes more sense to have that depth of field show in the distance. And here it's really only things that are in the really far distance that are blurred out. In the Link's Awakening remake, it was used too much. It was too strong in terms of the effect, and so it made it look like a toy diorama. It made it look like we were looking at a miniature, and that clashes with the environment that you're looking at. Are you trying to say that this is a toy diorama, or are you trying to say that this is an environment that exists in the real world? And I don't know if the developers that made the decisions in Link's Awakening understood that implication. I don't think that they understood entirely what they were saying by using that depth of field effect, because they used it again in, I call it the Wand of Gamelon, in the Wand of Gamelon on the Switch. I'm very busy with work, all right? I'm not like a grandpa that doesn't know what the names of video games. I'm very busy with my own work, so I don't get a lot of time to spend looking at other games and playing other games. So already I'm so pleased. This to me is significantly better than the HD 2D remake, because the developers have not arbitrarily restricted their level of expressiveness and visual creative freedom. I really like that the depth of field here blurs that as it comes close to the camera, because it keeps our focus on the character. This is a significantly better usage of this effect. Let's go ahead and go. Oh, I have a feeling I won't be able to. Oh, I can go inside. I get something about just creeping on people when they're asleep in their houses. For one, you shouldn't be going into people's houses at nighttime. You shouldn't be watching them when they sleep. Oh, my little character's there. Let me just. I would like to see what that looks like. What it says about my character there. Ooh, I can see my HP and MP. I do like that very much. And I assume that my party members will appear there. This is, you shouldn't be, you can't be doing this. You cannot. You can't be examining people when they're sleeping. Just don't do that. No, I want what's in there. I want what's in the drawers. Give me your gold. I was playing Dragon Quest III Seeds of Salvation, and I found somebody's, their boxers, their cloth box. Oh! I broke their grandmother's vase right there. Well, this so it's not just like a, you reach your hand for it and think that this character is just picking this up and slamming it straight down. That's what it looks like when the Baby Shark video ends and then a kid loses his temper because he wants to keep watching Baby Shark, I think. Here we go. I'll put that straight on. Oh yeah. Okay. No more plain clothes for this old boy. It's Wayfarer clothes. That's it. Now, if this were Dragon Quest IX, which I've played a few hours of, I'm exploring Dragon Quest right now. I'm a new Dragon Quest fan. I really like the character and the equipment system of Dragon Quest IX. I do know that some people don't really like the characters that have no personality or story. I think a series can do both. We have so many Dragon Quest games that are character-based and story-driven. I think it's okay once in a while to have blank slate characters. Now, I really like the use of these lantern lights here, and I would like to get a closer view, but let's go and take a look here. If that is real-time lighting. Okay. Oh, you know what? I think I'm being tricked here. Because they're using a glow effect here. See the halo? There is a haloing. There's a glow effect around that lamp. And it's making it hard to tell how much the light is actually affecting the character. But something I have noticed here, this is using subsurface scattering. Now I know it's a little bit hard to see, but if you take a look at this column here, see this supporting column? This is load bearing, by the way. This light is being calculated in real time, and I believe we can tell that because as we look on the other side of the column, you see that you can see the light through it. Now, this is not realistic. This would not happen in real life, but it's very expressive. And I have seen a number of games in the past few years implement this. Digimon Story, Time Stranger comes to mind, but subsurface scattering is an imaging technique that allows us to simulate light passing through an object, light entering an object. Say, for example, the leaves on a tree. It simulates the light bouncing around the mass of that object, bouncing out the other side. And we can tell that that's not just the glow because we have darkening on the corner just there. And if you have a look, let's see. Well, we have the lighting. See, this could be baked on this furniture here. That could absolutely be baked, but it feels... See, we're very far from the camera, and this is the nice trick that you can employ when the camera's farther away. You can get away without actually doing expensive visual effects. You can fake them. Oh, this is fascinating. Have a look at this light shaft. This is not a real-time light shaft. This is not calculated in real time. That would actually be quite expensive. Ooh, hold on. It's... Yeah, okay. I think that... No. Okay. That is not a real-time light source. You can see that that character is not being influenced by the light source as he gets close to the window. This is a piece of geometry that has a shader. A shader is just a part of the program that tells the game engine how a piece of geometry should be rendered. And that shader makes it look soft. But as the camera reaches to a certain point, that actually... Oh, it's part of the wall. See this wall geometry? When the camera reaches a certain angle and potentially the view would be blocked by the walls are set to... they are fading out. They're not just being set to invisible, they're fading out. I believe that's programmatic. I don't think that's some sort of automatic shader thing. That's programmatic. When the camera is within the range of a certain angle, it's just told fade those out. And the light shafts are just part of that. Oh, so interesting. And I feel that's a very good decision, because if they did not do that, the light shafts streaming in through the window, it would break the illusion. You would see that it is just a piece of geometry. You would probably see that it's quite hollow on the inside. It's a great consideration, great use of that. It shows that the developers really have a strong sense of what looks right and what looks wrong. Interesting. So we don't have a sense of real-time lighting coming in from the door. I have a feeling, oh, it's so hard to tell. That glow is really, it's tricking me. I like when I have a hard time telling things. It means that the developers have done a good job with the technical implementation. And if it's hard for me to tell, I really like that. I feel that light is not, ooh, I think it's possible that is not real time, because it's very hard for me to tell. With the glow, the haloing around it makes it very hard for me to tell. I like that. Okay. I have a feeling it's not real-time light. We're going to stand under this light. It doesn't seem like the character is being influenced by that. So these are not real-time lights. Now ooh, here's the thing. So they could be using, when we are building our games, there's a couple different rendering paths. We could, say for example, when you're using Unity, you have direct access. You can choose forward or deferred. There are strengths and weaknesses to either one. A stick. I can do better than a stick. If we use the forward rendering path, it's a method of rendering. And with the forward rendering path, every active light source, every real-time light source that your scene uses, it causes that object to need to be rendered again another time. So when you have multiple real-time light sources in the scene, it becomes exponentially more expensive to render. And when I say expensive to render, I mean the rendering cost, not in terms of money. And that would make the game run inconsistently. If you turn the camera around left and right and different light sources become visible in the scene, then forward rendering would cause that to have a huge performance cost. So your frame rate would be low, your frame rate would fluctuate. So a game that uses many active light sources, forward rendering is the wrong choice. Then you would prefer to use deferred rendering, but there's some visual effects that don't necessarily work in deferred rendering, or they don't look that good in deferred. In forward, we have very good anti-aliasing or anti-aliasing. I gotta break the pots. I have to. It's part of who I am. And I don't want to see a single pot survive. I'll destroy them all. So there's a strong likelihood that this game uses forward rendering, and maybe it contributes to being able to have the stencil effect here like this as well. So, oh gee, this is very pleasant. You know, things that are closer to the camera just blur out. That depth of field is used correctly. I would say it's used thoughtfully, and it's used correctly, and it wasn't really used correctly in Link's Awakening. I really appreciate the waves of water. There is displacement of the geometry of the water. It does move up and down. That's something that you can achieve with a shader. Ooh, fascinating. This is not object-based. This is pixel-based. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, look at that. Pixel-based occluding. As the pixels, as the geometry see on the mast here, as that gets closer to the camera here. And it actually turns invisible. Yeah, that it turns visible sooner than you think it would. This is such a great combination of effects. So it blurs it out, so you don't even see, you would see some artifact, not artifacting, but a visual tell. A visual tell kind of gives away the illusion, right? And you would see the inside of the geometry of the mast and all the rigging, and And because that there's a soft blurring, it's those two visual effects combined that make that quite seamless, and it removes the distraction for you. Ooh, brilliantly done. I've never implemented anything like that in my games. That is pixel-based. Wow. I really, really appreciate that effect. That is really fantastic. Ooh, I may not believe. This is so delightful to see this. Oh. Now, hang on a tick. Hang on a tick. You see this light here? That is real time. That's a real time light. But it is only affecting those boxes. So the value of that light, the range of that is being modified in real time. The light is not casting shadows. We only have one light source that is casting shadows. That would be the moon. The moon is casting the shadows in this scene, but it seems like these light sources in this scene, it looks like they do not cast any shadows. I'm trying to... the little soft glow that they put on that makes it very hard to tell. I'd be willing to bet the range is just extremely low, but perhaps the character can be influenced by those light sources. We'll have to play more, but as his hand gets closer, it looks like he can... Yes, 100%. These are real-time light sources. You see that as the hand gets very close to that, the hand is being illuminated by that light source. Fantastic, okay. And that is... And having the light pulsate and fluctuate like that, that's not something that you can do if this was a baked light source. That is baked. That means that the lights are calculated during development, and then they are hard fixed there. They cannot be changed. That is a real-time light source. Okay, it just happens to be that the range is very low. But see, this one, it doesn't look like that one can affect the player. So fascinating. Interesting implementation, design decisions here. Oh, I wasn't paying attention to where I was supposed to go. Okay, so I suppose I'll wander around a little bit. I'll keep going into places here. Hello, what's all this then? Hello. Well, let's get closer to these lights. It's so hard to tell. It actually is very hard to... It's very hard to tell the glow. They're tricking us, precious. They're tricking us. And it could be, maybe not all of them are real time for performance considerations. Yes. Yes. Okay. This really is the only island in the whole wide world. Just this village and the castle, that's your lot. Oh dear, is that truly all? Okay, yeah. I gotta find where to go next. Let me just figure it out here. I like the little... I really like the voice acting here, the sort of the universal context without necessarily reading all the dialogue, because it wouldn't be feasible. To have every single NPC read their lines of dialogue would just not be feasible. So you have them do mouth noises. I think that's totally fine. I'm gonna find out where to go here. Oh boy, I really like the sound effect. Very, very 8-bit sounding. Going up and down the stairs and through the... Would this be the bed of mine? Oh, this is my bed. Oh, I ought to turn in. Let's take a look at the gameplay for the daytime. How delightful. This is really lovely.
Wakey, wakey, young man.
Hello.
You can't stay in bed all morning.
Wake up, then. Oh, you can really appreciate the lighting once it's daytime and it's closer to the characters. This is interesting. Oh, what's all this then? How much of this character's lighting is baked?
It's the most important day of the year in Pilchard Bay.
Oh, is it now?
Day of the Pilchard harvest.
Oh, is it now? I might turn off the dialogue because it's a little distracting if I'm trying to speak while the characters are speaking. Oh, boy, this music is terribly delightful. there's one of the real strengths that we now have with modern music, the way that we implement music in games, is not just being able to use live performances and orchestrated versions. We have, even if we're using music that is sequenced, we have access to more expressive techniques when it comes to music. You know, we can have swells in the dynamic, the velocity of the voices of the instruments, and that comes down to the tools that we have available to us as composers when we are composing the music and sequencing the music. And often you can perform with MIDI instruments, and that allows you to have more dynamic, a more dynamic range. For example, like you can use an electronic wind instrument these days. But prestige franchises like this can have symphonic orchestras perform this, and oh, this is beautiful. This is so beautiful. Oh wow. The music is fantastic. I hope it's not too loud. I hope it's not too quiet. I hope it's just right. Oh, this is fantastic. What a delight. Oh, so in the past when we tried to achieve this kind of visual aesthetic, there were many hiccups when it came to this cartoony style. You know, it's not right to call this cartoony style. This is a style that has grown and evolved over decades. I feel like I think right now this is the pinnacle of this particular art style. This is not just some generic anime style. This is a blending of 2D hand-drawn animation. It's a blending, and it's taking the next step from, we started with pixel art, and we do have that kind of hand-drawn 2D pixel art, but it's being expressed in the 3D space, and it's not 2D hand-drawn. A lot of these textures are generated through, we have ways to generate 3D artwork. We combine that with 2D hand-drawn art. There's a lot of manual modification and adjusting that goes along with that. We don't hand animate this water. We use procedural generation, and we modify existing material values to achieve these kinds of effects. This is all the latest, you know, in technology. And unfortunately, people think that the word RTX means, oh, everything is good, that RTX does everything, and AI upscaling. That means literally nothing. When it comes to art and expression and creation, RTX and all that stuff, it's buzzwords. It means literally nothing. This kind of manual work that we see here, for example, manually defining that the shore here, see how it's smoother where the water is lapping up against the shore. That's not something that happens automatically. That's something that you understand as an artist, and you paint the terrain so that it's smoother here because that's how it would look in real life. That is very expressive, and it sets an abstract normality that it's showing that the water lapping up against the shore makes it smoother, and because that's how it looks in real life. So it's not just realism, but subconsciously we see that, and it helps us understand this level of abstract reality. I see the blobcaster from the shadows. Those are not real shadows, they are blobs being projected onto the geometry below, and they look great. Something that, I'm not here to make fun of Pokemon, but the visual presentation conveys a sense of lack of understanding of visual communication. This is the right way to do cloud shadows. See how they're quite soft? And they're way less intense. In Pokemon, you'll see the blob shadow casting is way too intense, way too dark. You see the characters here, the closer something is to the ground, then the more intense the shadow should be. There is good use of normal mapping here. It's great to see this map. It's not being clipped through by the terrain. Really lovely. I might end the episode here and split it into another episode. I will do a part 2 because I'm really enjoying taking a look at this, and it is daytime now. I'm spending so much time hyper-focused on very small details. Though the developers are making very good use of anisotropic filtering. As we get more flat, you know, if you look at a piece of geometry and it is textured, it looks fine, but as that geometry gets flatter, we see what is called MIP mapping, and MIP mapping allows us to lower the resolution of the texture the farther that it is from the camera. But you see a hard line, you see a boundary when the MIP map is changed. So again, a MIP map allows us to use a lower resolution texture on a piece of geometry the farther it is from the camera. But on a plane, you see a hard line there. You also see some blurriness. And I believe that they're making very good use of anisotropic filtering. And it's funny, with many games that are made by big studios, they, for some reason, just don't implement it, which is very silly. It's not like it's difficult to implement. You know, you click on a tick box in your game engine, you adjust the slider values till it looks right. They're making good use of anisotropic filtering. What that filtering does is it blends it. It makes sure that the texture of the MIP map in the distance looks sharp, and it smoothens out that line that normally you would see visible. Ooh, we can see the lower resolution shadow, see, in the distance. So the highest resolution shadows are being cast. You know, I would say that's probably only about 15 feet from the character, but from the camera, no, it's not. It's probably 20 feet from the character, probably about 60 to 70 feet from the camera, but I don't know what the POV, well, judging on the POV, probably 60 to 70, 80 feet from the camera. You can see that it is lower resolution. See right where that character in the red dress, see that the shadow is a lower resolution there. And then as we get closer, the shadow's a higher resolution. Yep. You can see it even affects the character. It's interesting. It's good to see that, right? But what I would like to see is better cascading. I would like to see better smoothing. Something that we should implement. I don't believe Unity has a very good solution for that. I don't know if Unreal has a good solution, but I want to see a very similar to how we have anisotropic filtering for MIP mapping. I would like to see better smoothing between the quality levels for the shadows, because that's quite obvious and apparent. I feel like this is not something that the developers really have much control over. Oh, there is some degree of smoothing. There's a little bit, but it's still very visible. So I would like for game engines in the future to implement something that smoothens that out so it's less visible. Must I talk to this woman? I'm going to work on a second episode for this. So I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at my analysis for the Dragon Quest VII demo. I've honed in on things that no one's really going to care about. These small aspects that I put up, but I find this very interesting. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today, and I'm going to record another episode for this so I can explore the demo more. Okay, take care. Please look forward to the next episode, and be well. Download the demo as well. Try this for yourself.